and welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to be reading from our devotional, Turning Points with God, 365 Daily Devotionals by David Jeremiah. Today's devotion comes from page 37. The title of it is True and Truth. So I'm excited to see what God's got for us. I will be reading the scripture from my King James Bible. And it is in red, so we know it is Jesus speaking. And it comes from John 14 and verse 6. And it says, Jesus said unto him, and him in this text is Thomas, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Dr. Albert Moeller Jr., president of Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, offers these thoughts on truth in our day. According to postmodern theory, truth is not universal. Truth is not universal, is not objective or absolute. Every culture establishes its own truth. All truth is socially constructed. Truth is made, not found. The role of the intellectual is to deconstruct truth claims in order to liberate the society. Pontius Pilate had a postmodern mindset. He asked Jesus, what is truth? That's in John 18 and verse 38. Just a few hours earlier, Jesus answered that question when talking to his Father in heaven. Your word is truth. John 17 and 17. Jesus might have been thinking of the words of the psalmist in Psalms 119 and 160. The entirety of your word is truth. Instead of turning to God for truth, postmodernists make it up as they go along. What's true today may not be true tomorrow, but our God never changes. What was true yesterday is true today and will be forever. Hebrews 13 and 8. Don't wonder what is true. Turn to the one who is true and the truth. Knowing Jesus means you can spend your time living the truth, not looking for it. Let us rejoice in the truth wherever we find its lamp burning. Albert Schweitzer. Wow, there is so much packed into this. And it's so true. It's mind-blowing to me. But it is true. Every culture establishes its own truth. All truth is socially constructed. Truth is made and not found. How true is that? No pun intended. But he goes on to say, our God never changes. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And that is why I say, if what you're being told, if what you're seeing goes against Scripture, goes against what God has said and ordained, then it is not truth. And, we have to be so on guard these days because you have so many different people spouting off different things, and they're saying it's facts, and they're saying, studies have shown this and studies have shown that. To me, I don't give into that because you can get a group of people together and ask them a question. They can all say the same thing, and then they say, oh, a study says. I don't fall for any of that. All these studies and this and that, as my granny would say, hogwash. I don't fall for that. I try to educate myself on the facts. And even that these days is very, very hard to do because we have so many resources today that we didn't have when I was even growing up, and you got so many different people saying so many different things. Honestly, all you got to do is just find the one that's saying what you want to hear. They're saying it's true, and you can say, well, they said it's true. They got this to back it up. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? But this is why we have to have a prayer life. Prayer life, getting in our word, a relationship with God, because He will guide and direct us in truth. And if it comes from him, it's truth. It's true. You can take it to the bank. It's facts. And I don't care what studies come out that can contradict it. If God says it's true, stand on that because it's true. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody says. It only matters what God says. And yeah, in this walk, this relationship with God, there are going to be times you're going to look foolish to the world. You're going to sound crazy to the world. I mean, my mom and I were talking the other day about faith and how, having faith in things that are unseen. But you know what God has told you. You know what you know in your heart and in your relationship with him. You just know what you know. And you will look foolish and crazy to the world. And we were talking about Noah. I didn't realize in the days of Noah, they had never really experienced rain. And so for this old man to be talking about the Lord is going to flood the earth, and he's spending years building the ark, preparing them, talking to them, they looked at him like he had 3 heads and he was crazy. And they didn't believe a word he said, but he knew what God told him. He had the faith that God had given him, and he knew what God had told him, and he didn't care that he looked crazy, sounded insane to the world, because he knew what God told him. And in the end, him and his family were saved from the flood because he obeyed. He went against what the norm. He went against what society was saying was right, and he was wrong. You know what I mean? And honestly, that's how it is in our walk with God. We are going to look peculiar. He tells in the Bible about we are a peculiar people. And in my growing up, people took that and made it focused on the outward appearance, that you're not going to look like the world. You're not going to blend in. You're going to stand out. You're going to be peculiar. You're not going to do the things that they do, blah, 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 blah. And I don't think that's what it means at all. My interpretation of it, and this is just mine, you do you. Whatever God has told you, that's what you do. This is my interpretation. We're going to be a peculiar people. We're going to be in a world surrounded by so much. But it is our faith and our trust in God to go against the norm, have people look at us like we're crazy, and even tell us we're crazy, call us weirdos, call us whatever name they can think of, because we don't fit in with them. We are peculiar. We are different. We stand out. That's my take on it. And I remember I think it was May of 2020, when I had already been struggling with my job that I was going to, and I'd already had so many issues there, and just honest to goodness, I was on medication to even function to go to that job, because it was just, it was horrible. Okay, it was just horrible. I don't know how else to say it. And I would pray about it, but I knew in my heart we needed my income. I knew what we had to have. I knew it. And the day that I walked out in the middle of a shift, because of the way I was treated, I had just had it. And I walked out, and I number one, I couldn't believe I was sitting there saying that I quit, because I'm just not a quitter. But I had just been picked on and had so much come at me in that job. And I'd had enough. It was like that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I could not even believe what I had said. When I said, you know what, I quit, I'm done, I'm not going to be treated this way. And I stood up for myself, and I walked out, and I called James, because at the moment it was during all that pandemic mess, and he was at home. He was not working. And I told him, I said, I just quit my job. He said, okay. He said, come on home. And I'd even talked to him in the past about quitting my job, and we both knew I couldn't quit my job, but I did. And I know to the outside world, it didn't make sense. And I did not know how we were going to make it, honestly. I did not know how, but I knew I had to trust God, and I knew sometimes God will He will be giving you these signs, but you're too scared to step out to actually take that step. And sometimes He just has to push you to where you don't have any other option but take that step. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that's what happened. And I was just like, Lord, I don't know. I do not know what we're going to do or how we're going to get through this. But here we are, and we trust you, and I depend on you, and you will make a way for us. And He did, y'all. He made a way. I was able to put more time into my YouTube channel. I was making very, very, very little. In some months, I didn't even make enough to you have to make a certain amount before they'll even pay you. And I wasn't even cutting that. I would go sometimes 3-4 months before I would even get a little tiny paycheck from YouTube. And I'm talking itty bitty, okay? Nothing to cover what I was making in my job. And I just didn't know how we were going to make it. But y'all know what? We made it. And God just helped my channel to grow. He sent the most wonderful people to watch my channel, to watch my videos, to interact with me, which all of that helps, this mysterious algorithm that's out there. And we made it. My channel began to grow, and I began to making a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And before long, I could actually feel good about myself because I was, again, bringing money in and contributing to our household. Now, I don't make a fortune on YouTube. I'm not saying start a YouTube channel and quit your job. I'm not saying that at all, because it takes a long time, and I don't make enough that I could live off of my channel alone. You know what I'm saying? It still takes James working and me working, and honestly, I have to consistently be putting out videos to even keep up with the income, But I'm blessed. We're blessed. God made a way. And although my whole point to all of that is, I looked crazy to the world. I looked crazy to them people. I looked crazy to myself. But I had to step out on faith and trust God and put my hope in Him. And you know what? At the end of the day, that's what it all boils down to. He will tell you what to do and how to do it. If He says it is true. You can count on it. There's going to be nothing to dispute it. You're going to see it come to fruition, because He is all about truth. He is. What did He say He was? I am the way, the truth, and the life. He made a way, and He helped us in our life that we're in, because He gave us life by providing and helping us. But all of that stemmed from me having a relationship with God and a prayer life, and talking to Him and laying all my burdens down to Him. Now, during that transition, that's when God really, really began to do a work in my life, because He had me home. I was 100% dependent on Him to make it. And that is when I went to the next level in Him, because that is when I truly learned how to pray, how to reach the throne of God, how to pray for myself. And that's when He began putting greater things on me. I began to learn what burden for other people. That was when I really learned that I was a prayer warrior. I never knew what my position in the kingdom was, but I learned in and there in that time that I was to be a prayer warrior, because He would lay different people and different situations and circumstances on me to the point of I didn't have an option but to pray. There was so many days that I would just stay in this house and just be in constant prayer. I would get to come up for a breather, but then it would go right back into the prayer. I cannot tell you the tears, the prayers that I prayed, but I've seen some mighty, mighty miracles. I've seen my children's lives literally saved during that time from the prayers. But all of it is because I trusted him and I listened to his truth. I didn't listen to what man was telling me, because man would have been telling me I was crazy. Man would have been telling me, you don't need to do this. Man would have been telling me everything against what God was pushing me to. So get in your word, get on your knees, figuratively if you're not able to actually. Get a prayer life, get into a relationship with him, and let him show you the way, the truth, and the life. He will do it. I love you. I pray you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.